Welcome back to another episode of Boys in the Zone. I'm your host, EJ Savage, and today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the 53-man roster, um, about just, season leaders as far as statistical stuff goes for this team. And then lastly, just a short little PSA for Cowboys Nation. So, with that being said, let's just jump straight into the video. 53-man roster surprises or anything like that. I think of one player in particular that was surprising to me that they weren't on the team, which was Jabril Cox. And not only that he got cut, but actually he got a practice squad invite, but I guess that he wanted a fresh start. And so he forgoes that and he goes to the Commanders instead. And so very interesting because it's a player that we spent a fourth round pick on, I believe. And I saw so much talent with him. It's just he never got on the field. I really don't know if it was like a coaching preference or if it was just him not being mentally prepared or whatever it was. I wish Jabril Cox the best. Um, you know, Sad to see you leave and sad to never see you really, have your Cowboys moment. But hopefully you're successful at a different organization and you don't beat up on the Cowboys too much. Another kind of surprising guy for me, not that he was cut, but that he didn't get a practice squad invite as well, was Simi Fehoko. I thought that right after Jalen Brooks, truthfully, I thought that Simi Fehoko was the next receiver that was good enough, for the squad. Now, with that being said, when you're wide receiver six, you're playing special teams, not really getting actual on-field reps that much, if at all, during the season. Honestly, you're probably not even active a lot of the time. So not super surprising to see Simi go. However, not even getting back to the practice squad is kind of weird, I guess, or kind of surprising. Sean McKeon's the next guy. He did make the practice squad for the Cowboys, which I'm excited about because I've always liked Sean. Um, but I did predict him not making the team. I thought that Hunter Lepke has looked better during the preseason games in blocking and pass catching as far as that goes. And I know that he's a fullback, but I think that he's a little bit more of a hybrid player. And Sean McKeon's kind of served that fullback role for the Cowboys. Um, Now, the last surprising player, and he wasn't even cut, actually, he made the team, was Neville Gallimore. I didn't see much from Neville Gallimore as far as preseason went, as far as training camp and stuff like that. Now, I know my guy Mike Tagg will be very excited that Neville Gallimore did make the team, but for me, I was kind of done with the Neville Gallimore experiment. Um, but I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that he plays better this season and fills into a role that we've wanted from him. So with that being said, those were the guys that I was kind of surprised whether they made the team or didn't. Super excited for my guys like the Hunter Lipkes, like the TJ Basses, undrafted free agents that made the team. Asim Richards seems like he has a big role carved out for him. Possible swing tackle, possible guard that comes in if somebody does go down. Um, but overall, I think that the O line depth right now is shaky. We need to address that. And I actually, after that third preseason game, I'm excited a little bit for Brandon Aubrey to prove what he can do as an NFL player. So shout out him, and hopefully we can see him do some good things in the NFL. Jumping on to the next segment, I guess you could say, season leaders as far as the Cowboys go. So touchdowns, um, passing yards, passes thrown, passes completed, all that stuff. I'm going to go with my boy Dak Prescott. I just don't see any other quarterback playing enough to be the team leader in those statistical categories. But knock on wood, Dak has got injured a couple of times or three times in the past 3 seasons. So never want to jinx the guy, but obviously he's a starting quarterback. He should get those statistics. Going on to top receiving wide receiver. I'm going to do the tight ends and the wide receiver separate just because I think it'll be kind of fun to do that. So top wide receiver targets will be CeeDee Lamb. Yards will be CeeDee Lamb, touchdowns will be CeeDee Lamb, and completions will be CeeDee Lamb. I just think that his talent's too good. He runs too good of routes. He gets open. He creates separation. He catches basically everything. And he's just that dude. So CeeDee Lamb, as far as that, um, should come as no surprise. Now, going on to the tight ends, this is where it kind of gets a little bit, you can go either way. Touchdown leader. I am actually going to go with Luke Schoonmaker. I know. A lot of people are high on Jake Ferguson, myself included. However, I see Luke Schoonmaker being utilized as a blocker, being rolled out in those little boots, and getting easy touchdown passes from Dak Prescott. You've seen it in the preseason game against the Raiders. Dak was calling the plays, and in the end zone, he loves those easy little boot rollouts. Um, get your quarterback on the move outside of the pocket, moving to one side of the field, and the tight end coming up and just booting out to the same side as the quarterback and just dropping it in there. I just feel like Luke Schoonmaker is going to be more in the block or the sets that looks more like a blocking package, and so as a result, he's going to get more touchdowns simply because of that. And it's not like he's going to have that many touchdowns. I'm predicting six. However, as far as yards go, I'm going to go with Jake Ferguson. I see Jake Ferguson getting up in that 800 yards territory. So, as far as targets go and completions go, the rest of these statistical stuff, I'm going to predict for Jake Ferguson. The only thing I'm not going to be is the touchdowns. So, kind of fun right there. Um, Moving on to pressure rate allowed and sacks allowed and stuff like that. And and a positive light. I'm gonna go with Zach Martin. So he's not gonna have very many pressures allowed. He's gonna have 0 sacks allowed for the season. My prediction, and his pressure rate is going to be the best on the team as far as what he's giving up, how much pressure he's giving up. If that makes sense. So Zach Martin for the offensive line. However, I am going to be predicting a very, very good and a Pro Bowl season for Tyler Smith. So we'll see if that's mainly at guard or if he does have to kick back out there to tackle and take that spot. If the if what happens. With that being said, jumping over to the defensive side of the ball, pressure rate, sacks, and forced fumbles, I'm going to go with Micah Parsons. I just believe that he's going to have a defensive player of the year type of a season. I am going to be predicting him to get an interception this year. That would be very fun to finally see that. But yeah, those three things I'm predicting Micah Parsons to lead the team in. Expecting a big year for Sam Williams as well. I think that he could be second in sacks on this team next year. Whether that's 7 to 11 sacks, who knows? But I am expecting a big year from him as well. Now tackles, total tackles for the team, I'm going to go with Damone Clark. I just see him blossoming into the linebacker that Dan Quinn likes, sideline to sideline. Very, very fast, can come up into run gaps and just get those easy tackles, but also get the tackles out in space. I just see Damone Clark, his evolution continue to evolve and blossom into something that's a really, really, really good linebacker. So, um, excited for Damone Clark. Now, when I'm getting to pass defenses, you could probably go either Diggs or Gilmore. I'm going to side on Gilmore's side right here. I just think that he's going to get his hand on some more balls. Really, just that veteran savvy and his knowledge of the game is going to help him do that. Now, interceptions, I'm going to have Diggs with one more interception than Gilmore, and he's going to have 7. And I honestly think these guys are going to combine for 13 interceptions between the two. Add on a couple more for Bland, Lewis, whoever else you want to add on there. And yeah, and then as far as am I missing anything? I think I touched on everything as far as that goes. Kicking, obviously, whoever the kicker is. Punting, whoever the punter is. Brian Anger, obviously. And then kick return, punt return stuff, I'm going to be giving to Kavontae Turpin. Now, with all that said, here's my public service announcement. Excuse me, guys. There has been basically two fans for Cowboys sphere, you could say. The fan that says the Cowboys are good enough on paper, but they always let me down in the playoffs. Therefore, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. Then the other side of the spectrum, the Cowboys are good enough on paper. The NFC is so weak. How could we not win the Super Bowl? The super optimistic and super pessimistic fan. Um, Guys, does it matter? At the end of the day, this stuff doesn't matter right now. When we get to the playoffs, that's when it matters. Live in the moment. Week one is coming up against the Giants. Enjoy that 3 hours, or 4 or 5 hours, whatever it is. Whenever you start watching, even the pregame stuff, and you're getting excited for the game, and all of that stuff, all of those emotions build up inside of you, and you have that, and you're glued to the TV. Enjoy that. Do not, you know, be overlated with, oh, we're gonna make the Super Bowl, oh, we're gonna make the Super Bowl while you're watching the Giants, or man, this is a really good game. We're kicking the Giants' butt. Too bad it's all for naughts. Don't be that fan, guys. Just enjoy what you're watching. At the end of the day, it's these memories that we create. It's the good plays that we remember. Nobody. I mean, obviously, we care if they win the Super Bowl, but nobody cares um, whether or not we if we were right about winning the Super Bowl or not winning the Super Bowl during week one of the season. Nobody cares about that stuff. Live in the moment. And with that being said, if you're not followed on my Twitter, go ahead at Boys in the Zone. It's right there at the bottom of your screen. Go follow that. Um, Hopefully, coming out with a lot more content. Hopefully, going to be getting on some more people's shows and stuff like that. Um, and just, I mean, it's a fun time to be a Cowboys fan, guys. Um, don't be a prisoner of the moment, but don't let the moment escape you at the same time. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment, a like, and a subscribe if you're not. And yeah, I'll see you next week.